Welcome to another video. Today I'm going to show you how to migrate a KVM virtual machine between hosts. Now, I previously did a video on this, but this was specifically when the KVM virtual machine was using shared storage. So basically it was using a shared NAS device that was acting as the boot drive for the VM. But now we are doing an example where the virtual machine has no tie between each of the two servers, and there's going to be some downtime in this transfer, so that is something that you will want to consider. Depending on your network speed, your hard drive speed, etc., there will be some downtime that happens. So without further ado, let's begin. So in here on the virtual machine, this is actually on the host server, we're going to run virsh list --all. So you'll see we have quite a few virtual machines on this host. I don't use this host for anything virtualization really anymore besides image, but you'll see the other virtual machines. So we're going to migrate the Ansible VM. I don't have another host to send this to at the moment, so we're going to send it to itself, but it'll be pretty much the same. So just follow along, we'll get there. So next we're going to do virsh dom blk list, if I can spell list right. And then we're going to paste in our virtual machine name, just like this. And this is going to tell us where the path of the VM is. So you'll see it's in mount md0 virtual-machines / then the actual name of the disk. So the reason this is important is because we're going to take this path, and once we shut down the VM, we're going to then take the path and essentially just copy that file over to our new host. And while that's doing that, we can work on setting the configuration file as well. So the next thing is, if your virtual machine is running, you're going to want to shut it down, of course. So you can do virsh shutdown. Virsh shutdown, and then you'll paste in your VM, you'll run that command. Obviously it's going to fail because the virtual machine is not running right now, but if it is running, it'll shut down, wait for it to shut down, then you're good to go. Okay, so once it's shut down, looking back at this command we ran, you'll see that we do have a VDA disk and an SDA disk. So typically the SDA disk is going to be used for when you do the initial installation of the virtual machine, so that will be your boot ISO. In this case, we don't have one because I detached the ISO since we don't need it anymore since the VM is now set up. So we're going to type in scp space, and we'll copy this whole path in here, space, and then this is just where you're going to do basically a normal SSH command. So for example, we're going to do beam networks @ symbol, and then the IP address of our server. So let's just say 192.168.1.2, and then we're going to do a colon here, /. Then after that slash is where you're going to put the directory of where you want it to go. So in this case, if we wanted to put it in the mount md0 directory, we could. So we could do mount /md0, 0, enter. You'll type in your SSH password to the server, then you're good to go. Once that file is going, you can either let that finish, you can open up another SSH connection to your host, whatever you want to do. Essentially, the next command we have to do is virsh dump xml space. We'll copy our virtual machine name in again. We're going to do a greater than sign, and then we're just going to say where we want that file to go. So I'm just going to leave it in this directory here. And then after that greater than sign, we're going to do a space, and then we're going to just copy this VM name again. And I'm going to type in .xml. So this is going to create an XML file that is going to have your entire configuration for your virtual machine. You'll click enter, and now if we actually nano it, we can nano and then copy this, and we'll be able to see our XML file. This is really cool, because this is where you can also make adjustments to your virtual machine. So in this case, if you do want to change your directory, it's going to be just in here under a disk device, and it's going to be a qcow2, and then you can just change your directory. So on the new server, once you import the virtual machine, you may not want it in the same directory, so this is where you're able to change that. The other thing you're going to want to check is that your network interface name is the same. A lot of times it's not going to be the same unless you're doing bonded interfaces, or VLANs. In this case, it is a VLAN, so if you do have that VLAN set up in NetPlan on your other server, you're actually able to just copy that over, and that will be okay. But if you're just using a network interface card on your PC or server or whatever you're using, you're going to want to change the name. So it may be ENP0S0. You might want to change that over to an ENO1, whatever the case may be. If we continue scrolling down, we'll see just more different options we can add, specifically with the VNC also. I think it's down here actually, somewhere. There's a VNC configuration or spice where you can configure the individual port settings that you want. So if you're VNCing into your virtual machine, it may be on a different port, or that port may not be available if you statically assigned it. So you're actually able to change that in this file as well. So on your keyboard, you're going to do Control X, you're going to select Y, and then you'll click enter at the end. I selected no because I don't want to save the file, but you're able to select Y and then enter to save that file. So next, you're going to send this file over to your new server just like you did last time. And I'm going to actually put this in my home directory on the other server. So we're going to delete the mount MD0 and we're going to say home/beam networks. This is just going to drop it in the home root directory basically. That way we're able to copy that file and import that then to our new server. So the last step on this current server I would do is you're going to do first undefine, and then you're going to type in your virtual machine name. So I'm going to type in my Ansible VM, click enter, and it's going to undefine the VM, which essentially means it's not going to delete any files, but it's going to undefine it from verse. So now if we run our verse list command again, you'll see that virtual machine is not showing up at all. And that's what we want. So that's essentially just clearing it out of the virtual machine or out of the host. So that way we're able to import it into our new host. Although you could leave it running on, or leave it available on the old host if you ever wanted to go back and run that virtual machine again for some reason. But in this case, I just left it. We're going to leave that deleted. And then on our new server, we're going to go, so just imagine I'm connected to my new server. We're going to run verse define, and then we're going to give it that file. So we're going to type in the file name, so the XML file. You'll click enter. So it just defined that from the file. So now if we do verse list -all, you'll see that VM is actually back on our server now. So this is really all you have to do. So once you get that XML file from your current host to your new host, then you're able to take that file, import that into the new host, and then you'll be good to go. And then similarly, you also just have to make sure that other file is in the right directory. So the qcat2 file also needs to be stored in the right directory and referenced correctly in the XML file, but then you're good to go. You can do verse start and then your VM name, and then that's pretty much all you have to do. So this migration process is a lot more manual than the live migration process that you can see when you're using shared storage, but shared storage is also a pain to set up. So this is another great way to do the migrations. I saw a comment that inspired this video actually from a user that asked how you can migrate one server or one virtual machine from a cluster in one data center to another, and this is exactly how you can do that. So all this requires is just some kind of connection between one server and the other server, the current server and the new server. You just have to have some kind of file connection, or if you didn't want that, you could even drop this onto a hard drive on just an external volume on that server, move that hard drive to a new server, import it, etc. You're good to go. I like the network version because networking is really cool and you can just do this kind of stuff really easily, but there's so many options that you can do. And if you have any questions, please leave a comment down below. If you want to see new videos related to this, also leave a comment down below. I felt like this could help a couple people if they don't understand how to migrate virtual machines. So thank you for watching. Have a great day. I'll see you in the next video.